Hello, welcome to our Lunch and Learn today, put on by dfree. We are doing a special Lunch and Learn, all things $1 billion challenge. So today, any questions you may have about $1 billion challenge, how to get started, lots of tips, lots of information. We're going to cover it all for you today so that you can learn everything you need to learn about the $1 billion challenge. So I welcome you. A couple housekeeping things. This is a closed session, so there is not an opportunity for questions during this time, but we'll have an opportunity at the end to share how you can ask questions and get in touch with the team. So we just want to make sure we go through. We have a lot of jam-packed information today to get you all started on the $1 billion challenge. First, I want to bring greetings from our founder and CEO, Dr. DeForest B. Soares Jr., and our executive director, Tamika Stembridge Esquire. They lead the dfree movement nationally and globally, and we're so blessed to be on a team with them, working with them, and under their leadership. We'll go into a little bit more detail about some of dfree, but I am Janiyah Lake. I am the Director of Training and Engagement. I have with us today Catherine Taylor and Shonda Sutton. We work on the training and engagement team, helping all people activate anything dfree $1 billion challenge, whether you're an individual, a church, a community organization, or a large initiative. We are kind of where the rubber hits the road, and we help you do anything that you want to do and accomplish the goals utilizing dfree $1 billion challenge and all of our tools and programming. So we'll just jump in and get started. Here's the things we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about what is the $1 billion challenge. We'll briefly cover a little bit about dfree, but today is all things $1 billion challenge. We're going to talk about how you join. I'm actually going to give you tutorials and show you screens. I'm going to answer questions that people frequently ask us. We're going to talk about starting and leading a group. Additionally, tutorials and show you things that you need to do to get started, as well as tips and best practices. We'll cover some tools and functions of BDC at the end, and then I'm going to share some frequently asked questions. So these are the things that are burning on people's minds when they want to get started with $1 billion challenge, and a lot of times call us or shoot us emails. So I'm going to try to make sure I answer all of those for you guys at the frequently asked questions. But we'll just get started. So the $1 billion challenge is actually a tool of the dfree program. So if you haven't heard about the dfree program, this is just a little bit of information. Contact us at the end if you have more questions about dfree. But if you're familiar with dfree, you know, it was created in 2005 by Dr. Soares. And, you know, his book and workbook are the foundation of the dfree movement. It's the 12 steps that we go through to get financially free and start to build wealth. The movement, and if you will, is kind of catapulted with the $1 billion challenge, and we'll cover all of that today. But the basis for everything is the guiding principles of the dfree program. Dr. Soares has created dfree to be a transformational movement so that we challenge our culture of being a consuming kind of culture that purchases, lives in debt, and we shift ourselves to values-based principles and practical approaches to managing our finances. dfree works, our team works very hard to help individuals, families, churches, and communities improve their financial status so that we can address some of the things that plague us, if you will, around our finances. And so I say this is a little bit more than a financial education or financial program. You can Google financial literacy. We can find budget sheets. We can find all of the things that we need to find. But we know that we're still not changing our behaviors. So dfree addresses the spiritual, psychological, and the behavioral root causes of some of the things that plague us in our financial life. And so that's where I feel the transformation happens, so that we can address the things that are actually wrong and then showing up in our money. And so it'll reground you in those principles so that you can then move forward and make changes in how you're dealing with your money. dfree is a movement, so it's thriving, it's growing. I'm going to share some stats with you in a little bit. You'll see some of the accomplishments we've made with $1 billion challenge, but we are determined people that we're going to overcome this culture of debt. And so we're going to get out of delinquencies, deficits, and really attain financial freedom. And so that's the goal of dfree. We have lots of programming that we can do to help you get started. If you're interested in any dfree information, again, I'll have our contact at the end. We help organizations, churches, everyone lead these kind of movements across the country. So let's jump into $1 Billion Challenge. So $1 Billion Challenge also was created by Dr. Soares. It is the campaign. It is the, when people ask us, how can I get started immediately? What are things that I can do? It is the way that we're all meeting together to join the challenge. So the $1 Billion Challenge was created by Dr. Soares, and it's a continuum of the civil rights mission of financial wellness and empowerment that Martin Luther King spoke of in the civil rights time. If you're familiar with Dr. Soares, he has worked his lifetime in civil rights, the civil rights movement at the time, working with Jesse Jackson, Operation Push, and he continues that work today, really pushing to deal with the financial wellness and empowerment of our communities. And so if you think about I always talk about that we have lots of stats we can access about how our communities and African Americans are doing in financial wellness. And we know we're kind of at the bad point of all stats. And so one of the things $1 Billion Challenge is it allows us to come and really celebrate success and start changing those conversations. And so we want to empower people to meet us at the $1 Billion Challenge to where we're paying down our debt, we're making savings plans, we're starting thinking of things we can move those monies to, and really be in a positive space around how we're dealing with our finances and opportunities to grow. So it's an economic situation that people are improved now, so we want to give them options. The $1 Billion Challenge allows us to meet in a digital space and celebrate paying down consumer debt. So this is our homepage here, and I want to just point out one of the first things that's very exciting is to date, we've paid over $23 million worth of debt together. And so this is where we've joined the challenge. It's kind of designed like a weight loss challenge or challenges where you can get together with your community and see your impact in a larger way. It's a free interactive tool. So individuals join, they can participate in groups. I'll cover that in a little bit. But it's where we're really focused on taking charge of our money and paying down our consumer debt. And then building those emergency savings plans. We know those are the first two things that we need to address in order to move ourselves along to wealth building. The goal of the $1 Billion Challenge, we want to educate, we want to inspire, we want to enable participants to come together and pay down debt. We have a goal of $1 billion altogether. It's free. It's a national campaign, and this $23 million you see is all of the folks that are participating and joining together. This is the impact that we've made. So it's very exciting. I'm going to go ahead and jump into how you get started, because the goal is that we want, if you're watching this video, you want to get started on the $1 Billion Challenge. I don't think there's anybody that I've met that doesn't have debt or payments or things that they want to manage and pay down. And this tool allows you to do that, as well as building a savings plan and starting with things you're saving for. So I'll go through each of these in a little bit of detail. But how do you get started? So if you go to billiondollarpaydown.com, that's our website. That's where you'll see this great $23 million number and where you can take advantage of all of the tools and everything we have on here. To the right, there's a green Join Now button. You simply click the button and you'll create a profile. And so when you get started, and this is what your kind of first screen will look like, actually, you'll create your profile. But I wanted to point out, there's tutorials that will help you walk through everything. So if you see here, this is Welcome to the $1 Billion Challenge. You can click this that you want to close it, but you can say yes. And what it will do is it'll walk you through some of the key functions of the site. I encourage everyone, as you kind of join in, there's a lot of great information. Go ahead and take the tutorial at least the first time you go in, and it'll get you started. But you'll build your profile. So when you join, you'll create a sign-on, you'll use an email, you will put in a little bit of information. I point out this screen for a couple reasons. One of our most asked questions is, what is the information that you collect from me? How secure is the site? What is it that's going to be on, on this profile or on this website? And so I wanted to show you, this is what an actual profile looks like. Up above, this is the scroll down to kind of some of the information that's pertinent, but up above is your name. You'll put in your name of what you want your profile name to be. You'll put in the email address that you want to use. And then you'll put in your phone number, zip code, age range, annual income range, and then the types of debt that you have. None of this information is your social security number. None of this is account numbers. None of this is an app that's like a mint.com or anything that will attach to any of your bank accounts. So you do not have to worry that you would be putting in identifying information or things that will give any information to either your credit file or your current debt or your bank accounts or anything like that. So this is the information that's on your profile. It allows us to know our audience that's using the $1 Billion Challenge so that we can continually design tips, tools, and meet the needs of the folks that are using it. So there is not any personal information. And then once you build your profile, this is what your dashboard looks like. So just a couple things I'll point out on your dashboard. To the left, if you see the edit profile, my J Lake, the view edit profile log out, that's how you would get back to that page that I just shown prior to the slide. That page will allow you, if you ever need to change your password, if you ever need to update maybe the state that you live in or the zip code that you're in, anything like that. So you can go in and edit your profile as well as put a picture, anything that you want to personalize your profile. All of that, you can go back and edit those. If you see the top arrow here, we have total debt reduced, total save. This is your dashboard, and this will update as you log your payments and as you log deposits into your savings plan. Again, the site is totally secure and it does not link to anything. So I do want to point out, someone asked one time, we don't collect the money and pay any of your debts for you. You will use this site simply as a tool, much like if you think logging all your debts into like a notebook. I know this might sound a little bit antiquated. I still do notebooks. So logging all of your debts into a notebook so that you have a good picture of what your debts look like. We know that you can't work a plan if you don't start to make a plan. And so this tool allows you to actually make a plan, have a snapshot of the debts that you have, and then really identify areas that you can either make extra payments or make a plan to pay off by a certain date. So you will log in your payments, you will log in your deposits that you make here. Our site will not make those for you. If you look at the bottom, you'll see your debt listed and your savings listed. Right now, there's no data in here. Along the bottom, it's not scrolled down, but you'll have a list of your upcoming payments and your recent payments as you work your plan. So this will give you a total snapshot of what you put in here so that you can see it right on your dashboard, right on your screen, and then the success as you move along. This is what a debt screen looks like. So from this previous screen, you can click on this, the no data yet, and the let's add some goals. You can click right on there. To the top right, you see add a new goal. You can do those a couple ways, and then this is what your debt screen will look like. I show this again because I want to point out again, one of the most asked questions is the info that's collected. So I want to make sure you see the info that's collected prior to going into the site. So you put in your debt plan. This would be like your visas. This would be your car loans. You may put your mortgage in here, but this would be debts that you are intending to pay off or that you want to have a plan to pay off. Your student loans may go in here. So you'll simply fill out the fields. You create a record name. It may be Visa, MasterCard. It may be Chase Visa. You know, whatever it is you want to create the debt record name, you put that in there. You'll put your amount. You'll put your rate. Put the debt. It's a of debt for you. Select one. You put your rate and then the type of interest. The reason that information is important is because it will allow you to use the calculator tool. The calculator tool allows you to either choose a date that you want to pay off or choose to pay a certain amount, and then that will give you the date. And I'll go into that just a little bit of detail. One of the best practices that we suggest is gather your statements, gather your bills, gather the things that you want to input in here prior to coming and setting up your debt plans. That way you have everything right in front of you. I know someone said one time they went in to create, but then they didn't know what their rates were and they didn't know what their current balances were, so they had to actually go back, go get all that and come back and do it. So gather those things before you get started, then you'll be able to log them in all at one time. The calculator function, what that does for you is two things. It allows you to either choose a date that you want to pay it off. So if you put a date in, say I have a goal, I want to pay this credit card off in 6 months. I will put the date in there for 6 months, and based on the rate and based on the balance that I have, it will tell me how much I need to pay each month in order to accomplish that goal. That's one way you can use the calculator. The other way is if you don't know the date, but maybe you identify an additional amount that you're going to put towards this to accelerate paying it off. So we know if we pay our minimum payments on our credit cards, that it would take so much longer, we'd pay so much interest, and it would just continue on kind of the cycle of debt. So we want to take an opportunity to identify if we have a little additional money. When you go through the dfree program, we identify spending leaks. It may be something as simple as your coffee each day. If you decide I'm going to take that same $25 a week and apply it to paying off my credit card, you may then increase your minimum payment. So if your minimum payment was $50, maybe you now put your payment at $75 each month. It will let you know the date and calculate the date of your payoff. That helps you really work your plans, because as you're building out your plans, we encourage people when you're going through dfree to use the snowball or the avalanche method, meaning once you've paid those things off, you would then be moving that additional money and that payment to your next item that you want to pay off. So then that accelerates and gives you momentum as you're working your plan and paying off your debt. So that's creating a debt plan. You would do this for everyone. Once you create, you can continue and go in and put in another debt and another debt and another debt, and then create your plan for those. And then you go to a savings plan. So we encourage everyone to consider what their savings situation looks like as they're also working down their debt. And beginning savings is an emergency savings. Statistically, an individual is considered financially vulnerable if they do not have $500 to $1,000 in an emergency savings. And the reason that is the case is life situation happens and it can cause you to have to make a decision to go back in debt. And that could be tires, that could be hot water heaters, that could be anything. But if you don't have something put away for an emergency, that so that you don't have to go back in debt if any one of those things happen, then you would be considered financially vulnerable. And so we want to encourage people to also begin to start to build your savings plan. And so your savings is a habit. We encourage people that even as you're identifying your coffee and you take some of that and maybe half goes to your debt pay down plan, you also may want to consider half going to building that emergency savings. Build that habit of having a savings deposit on a regular basis so that you can start to build for that emergency fund so that you don't have to go back in debt as any life situation happens. Additionally, you can make more than one savings option or savings plan in here. We had someone ask, can I create my emergency savings that I want to build, but I also want to do a vacation fund, or I also want to do like my Christmas money in here too. So they use the savings plan for those, and then they may have deposits, or, one paycheck goes towards one savings plan, one paycheck, deposit goes towards the next savings plan. So it's a great way to use it. Additionally, we encourage people, if you're identifying with your debts, sometimes we have bills that we also have happen once a year or twice a year, and maybe we want to consider building a savings for those instead of paying that debt at one time. So an example would be your car insurance. If you pay your premium every 6 months, you may want to consider a savings plan for your premium so that you save, 1/6 of that every month, so that at the time that your insurance premium is due, you've already saved the money. Same thing with property taxes, anything that would be, an annual payment or, biannual payment. This is a great way to save for those as well so that you can plan for those payments. So again, once you have your debts and your savings loaded, they will be on this dashboard here. You'll see them listed, and then you'll see as you log your payments and log your savings activity that your total at the top will be updated. One of the best practices that was shared with us is the bottom, the upcoming payments and the recent payments. Once you put your due dates in there, or you put when you work your plan, these will populate for you as well. So as you log your payments to the right, you'll see your recent payments in there. So you'll know that you've logged those, or if you've missed anything. The upcoming payments will be a reminder as far as any plans that you've laid out in your debts and your savings. They do turn red when they go past due. So we had someone say that was so helpful for her when she was on her dashboard. She could see right at the bottom any payment she may have forgotten to log, or if she didn't, work her plan, it shows up right there in upcoming payments right on your dashboard. So that is how you get started. A lot of times people then want to join a group. So once you build your individual profiles, you have the opportunity to either join or start a group. I can point out here, this is where a lot of times two people have angst. What of my individual information? If I join a group, what's going to happen? Is everybody going to see my business? They're going to know how much I'm in debt. Do they know how much I'm paying? All of that. So we can just say, before you even join a group, you don't have to worry about any of that. Your individual plan is individual to you. It is not shared with anybody when you join a group. Your payments, your debt load, what your business looks like, that is not shared with your group when you join a group. So that's like my two number one questions, the confidentiality, and then who's going to see my business if I'm part of this group. So you don't have to worry about that. The only thing that totals in the group is what you log as working your plan, and you will see it as the total summary. So you'll see the impact by the whole group. You will not see your individual plan. So for example, if Shonda and I are in this group together, I will not be able to see Shonda's debt load, but I also will not be able to see Shonda's payment. So I don't have to worry of whatever our goal is looking like. You're only going to know how much I paid, or you're going to know how much I'm not working my plan, or how much I am. You don't have to worry about any of that. We'll just all be in the summary together. So we encourage you to join a group or start a group. So a group management at the top, this is where you join or start. When you click that group management button, you'll have two green buttons that pop up. One says start a group, one says join a group. If your group already exists, if you know they exist, and you just like to join, whether it's your church, whether it's your Delta chapter, whether it's your employee networking group, you click the join button, start to type their name in the search field, and a drop down will come and you'll be able to find your group and join it. If you're starting a group, you'll click the start green button and it'll actually walk you through a few key information for your profile. So if you see here, I have named our group, the Test Chapter by Janiyah. I've chosen if we are a sorority or fraternity. I've chosen where we are, and then you get to write a little description. We do encourage you to choose a name that's something that would be found by members, or something that you share with your group so that they know what the group looks like or what the group name is to join, as well as a picture. And so then you can put a logo, you can put a picture of your group, you can put anything that you want in here so that people can identify your group. Couple things about groups, you can only be part of one group at a time. So if you start a group or join a group, that is the group that you belong to. You would have to leave that group to join another group. And if you leave that group and join another group, your impact of whatever you were in a group actually goes with you. So whatever your debt payments, that will move to your new group. So that's a question that we get asked a lot, as well as what kind of groups can I start? You can start any kind of group. So we have large national initiatives that have multiple chapters underneath, and I'll cover those in a little bit. We have area initiatives. So we have a person leading dfree and $1 Billion Challenge in Ohio. And so she has kind of a whole Ohio group with multiple different groups underneath, as well as we have families who started, a family group or girlfriends group. We have some VIP millionaire groups in Detroit. We have some book club groups. So you can determine the group. If there's not a group that's set up that you want to join now, you can start any kind of group and get folks to join. We want this to be fun and encouraging and a way that people can get started and join together and see an impact that they're making together. Let's go down. This is your dashboard. So what you see on here is kind of the dashboard for the group, if you will, much like the dashboard for your individual profile. You'll see debt goals, savings goals. I'll go through a little bit of admin function, but if I'm an individual and this is my group, I can see the members that are to the right. I can see our total impact to our goal. So we would have a percentage to our overall group goal. We would have a percentage to our overall savings goal. Again, you just see total. You don't see any individual totals to that group or to that summary. You don't see any individual plans to that summary. This would be goals that you would set for the whole group. And then this is additionally what you'll see if you just scroll down on the dashboard. So you'll see the members to the right. You'll see at the bottom there's an opportunity for engagement with the group as well. And let me go through that just a little bit. So if you scroll down to the bottom, there's a comment and an announce section. This allows the members to engage with each other, and this allows the leadership to have some activity with the group. And so the difference between the two, if you see an announcement is in a banner. It goes green, it goes across the wall, if you will, of the group, and it posts there as an announcement. This is a great thing to use to celebrate success, to announce if you have any dfree classes coming up and you want people to join. If you have any milestones that you've made, such as membership numbers or percentage of your overall goal, this is a great way to make announcements there for the overall good of the group. And then if you see comment acts much like a Facebook, I guess. You can make a comment, you can ask a question, someone can then continue on your thread and answer your comment. So if you see, I put what's the difference in a comment, someone could go into the comment there and answer the difference between an announcement and the context, and answer it. So then it will build upon each other and be on the wall. It's a great place to ask questions that are good for the overall of the group, as well as recognize and allow people to celebrate success or anything like that, that the accomplishments your group is making. So then that transitions, that's how you would join a group. Those are the things you would see on the dashboard. If you join a group, those are the things you can participate in, being part of a group. One last thing about a group can have a subchapter as well. So if you are a church, so for example, First Baptist Church of Lincoln Garden, they may have the group, which is like the parent group, and then you could have subgroups underneath that maybe have their own plans, their own initiatives, their own things that they're working on. So much like the ministries. There's a dfree ministry, there's a senior ministry, there's a marriage ministry. All of them could create a subgroup that would operate just the same under the parent group. They would have their own admins, they would have their own information, but it would just all roll to the total parent group of First Baptist Church of Lincoln Garden. So groups and subgroups, if you're an admin to the overall parent group, you would be an admin to the subgroup. But if you are an admin to the subgroups, you only manage your subgroups. So that's a great way to break out groups and subgroups. Sometimes we've had some great fun competitions. Deltas are by chapter. They lead the charge in competition and encouraging each other through some fun ways, but they are considered kind of a subgroup of the larger Delta group. If you are managing a group, so if you are an admin, if you see to the right there, Janaya, Catherine, you see the little green admin, you have a little bit of a different function when you are managing a group. So in the green bar, you will see join requests. If you are an admin of a group, you will approve join requests. So as people find your group and want to join, it would show 3 join requests, 5 join requests. As an admin, you could click that button and go in and approve the folks that are requesting to join your group. You can, as an admin, you can have other people be admins with you. Depending on the size of your group, we encourage you to have 3 to 5 admins, at minimum 2 to 3, depending on the size. And so the admin functions can be shared by all admins. that would allow, if an admin needed to leave and you needed to replace an admin, that there would not be any scenario of there not being someone to manage the group. And then you see at the bottom, there's a manage all members, little green, and there's a hyperlink, and you can click that. So if you are an admin, there are some other things that you can do that manages the group. So if you click that button, this is what your members look like. They show up in a whole listing that you can see in the group, as well as your subgroup. The top, you can search members, look for members. But if you look to where the arrows are, there's a little 3 green dots. Those are the 3 black dots. Those 3 black dots allow you to either remove a member or send your group admin request. So if you are an admin and you want to add some additional admins, this is where you do that at. Once you send them an admin request, they accept it, they get their email that they logged their $1 billion challenge with, but they do need to be part of the group before you can make them an admin. So we encourage everybody to join the group ahead of time, and then you'll go in and set up your admins. The other things that you can do on this page is if you scroll to the bottom, there's a send invitations and send email to all members. You can invite people to join your group. So if you know their email address, you can send it to them there. We did have a question one time saying, I got an invite to an email address I don't want to use. Do I have to use that one? No, you don't. This is just alerting people of your group name, and inviting them to join you. Anybody that's an individual, feel free to use whatever email they would like to manage their $1 billion challenge with, and then they can go find the group and join the group. But as an admin, you can send your invites out here. You can send emails to all the members too. So if you have any announcements that you also want to additionally do an email to the members, you can type that right in here, and it'll just send an email to all of the emails or all of the members in your group. And then we go back to the dashboard. So if you are managing a group, we encourage you to celebrate, encourage, and engage your group. One of the best practices that we've learned from some of our most successful $1 billion challenge users is when they really activate and use and engage with their folks that are in their group. So they may have milestones that they want to set and reach. They may have membership milestones that they want to continue on. They just may have things that they want to do, but we encourage you as you're leading others to really celebrate the success of your group, small and large. Really encourage the people to work their plans, and I'll share with you just a little bit how you can utilize the site to help them do that, as well as engage with them as your folks that are leading or joining your group and looking to your leadership. So if we look at some of the tools and the functions in the site, and some of these are helpful for you to know if you're managing a group as well, so that you can answer questions. Individuals always use these, as well as ways that you can encourage and keep your membership going. So if you look to the left, there's a tip of the week there that helps people to kind of stay the course, work their plan, or maybe think of things that they haven't thought about as they're looking at their debt load or their savings plan. So you can share a tip of the week, maybe in the group, encourage folks to use the tip of the week, as well as the tutorial. The tutorial walks them through a lot of site functions. So if you see all the different topics here, you can click on any one of these, and you will see screenshots and functionality as you go through the site. So we encourage people to take those tutorials, or those leading groups, you can utilize these tutorials to help answer questions for people. As well as there's a lot of other stuff on the $1 Billion Challenge site. So when you go to the home page, you scroll down, there's lots of tools and tips, there's lots of information, articles we'll post on $1 Billion Challenge, some dfree tips as well from our 12-step program, lots of information, digital offerings. So we encourage you to take a look around the site. Even if you're just going in and logging debts and payments, there's lots of new information that gets posted here to help you kind of on your journey as you're paying down your debt or staying encouraged. So click on any one of these or click around the site. If you're leading groups, it's a great thing to draw your membership's attention to, have them take a look at, or post on the wall of your group as well. So I want to take a little moment here to go back to the 23 million that we're super excited about, and just have a little bit of recognition of what this looks like in the $1 Billion Challenge world right now. And so we have special recognition to our Greek organizations Delta Sigma Theta's leading the charge with almost 200 chapters, and they've paid down over $5 million worth of debt. We've just brought on the Atlantic region of Zeta Phi Beta. We have some New Jersey AKA chapters that are getting started, and we're just very excited for to see this growth and to see how we're doing with this $23 million. We additionally want to recognize we have Prudential employee networking groups. We just are launching nationally an initiative with our NARAB chapters across the country. We have over 100 church leaders that are leading billion-dollar challenge groups around the country, whether that's just for their church or whether that's initiatives that they're doing within their cities or states or their denominations even, as well as, this is comprised of 10,000 individual members. So we've had such significant growth in 2019. We're positioned for even larger growth, but we want to celebrate the people that have contributed to this $23 million to this point, and we're on our way to meet $1 billion. So I encourage you all to join us together as we pay off debt. I want to take a moment here to just make sure I cover some frequently asked questions. We did everything from joining individually, creating a group, leading a group, some activities to get you started. But a lot of questions that we get is around the confidentiality, the information that is requested. So I hope I was able to show the screen and answer that for you so that you can see and not have any angst about joining the $1 billion challenge or any information that's in there. One of the things people typically ask is how often do I log on or when should I go in? You can log in as much as you'd like, but we do say you should at least log in when you're making your bill payment and go in and work your plan and log your plan to ensure that you're on track with the things that you've set up in $1 billion challenge. So log your payments in here. Whenever you make a payment to any of your debts that are on your plan or deposit into your savings, go in and log those in there, because then that contributes to your dashboard growth. If you're part of a group or part of a challenge, then it contributes to that summary total as well. If you are an administrator, how much can I see? Again, I walked you through all of the things that you can see. You do not have to worry about that. You can find out anybody in your group, what their actually debt load is or what they're doing. So it's really a great tool that we can see impact. It's a great tool that we can see success. It's a great tool that we focus on paying down that debt so we can move those monies towards building savings, insurance, investments, wealth creation, home ownership, owning property, all of those positive aspects that we can see that $23 million or when we move $1 billion down a consumer debt towards wealth creation. People have asked, what if I'm not in debt? Can I use $1 billion challenge? Absolutely. We encourage you, if you're not in debt, people may need to consider what their savings look like. Sometimes we have people that are not in debt and they're really disciplined, but they may need to really look at what their emergency savings look like, if they have that built up so that they wouldn't have to go back in debt. Additionally, we encourage you, if you're not in debt, to consider, if you're not part of a group, leading one. This is something that we want to celebrate those that maybe have those good practices and good activities that they've done to join us in dfree and $1 Billion Challenge as a leader and continue and spread that with us. Continue to give back as our level 4 of dfree is, to where we want to infuse our communities, our families, our churches with really joining this and making a change. Personal information, how do I access? $1billionpaydown.com is how people join. But really those most frequently asked questions tend to be around group administration. It tends to be around confidentiality. It also tends to be just around how do I use it and if it attaches to anything. So I want to encourage you all again to feel safe and confident that you can use this and it's not anything that you have to share any information with. If there's some questions that you have, if you have ideas, if you'd like to learn more about dfree, if you want to get started, join us in any of these places. So mydfree.org is our website. It's the hub of all things dfree. You'll learn about our live events, initiatives that we're doing, some of our digital offerings, lots of tools and resources, as well as the billiondollarpaydown.com is the site we've covered today. So that's where you go. Please go, create a profile, join a group, start a group. But any way that we can help in any of the above, whether you want to start dfree, classes, any specific initiatives, or learn more about anything that I mentioned today, contact us at the engagement email at mydfree.org. You can contact us by phone as well. And then follow us on social media. We do look for testimonies and the space we're creating in community of where we're encouraging people to really shift how we're participating in our finances. And so we love to see testimonies. We love to see how your groups are doing. We love to celebrate your success with you as well as share within the larger community any success, best practices, or anything that we can support you in. So reach out to us if you have any questions. And I look forward to seeing our $23 million just go up and up and up to $1 billion. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.